your start and sit questions. I am never enough GLT on Twitter. And we have three more than capable gentlemen here to help you with your DFS, your injuries, and your redraft lineups. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves. Anyone?
Hey, Hamid Sandhu here, FFJunkie85 on Twitter. You can find me on GoingFor2.com as well. I'm the guy that's going to teach you how to not listen to Jared. Long story short.
And off.
My name's Grayson, or I go by G, the Fantasy G. Pod on Twitter. You can find me on DFS Roundtable. You can find me basically on the Sunday show every Sunday here, and the DFS show with Jeff and Tim Goebel.
Rico, RICCO_3733. Obviously part of that Going for Two team as well. Random thought for the day, just for the followers and watchers and you guys too. Did you know if you drop an Oreo on the ground, you can still safely eat 2/3 of it?
Wait, what? I need to hear the logic behind that. On what? Where's that? How?
I guess if you're dropping Oreos, you can be satisfied.
Oh wait, I get it. 2/3. So there's 3 layers to the Oreo, so only one layer gets affected by it. You just take that layer off.
And
now, guys, it's the lack of common sense that Hamid just showed why you don't listen to his takes.
I got it right.
All right.
3 bottles lined up on G's table, and we're off and ready. Hey, before we get started, it's Thanksgiving weekend, so just a reminder for everyone, Going for Two has a fight against addiction contest going on. Jared, what is the link for people to sign up? It's you get in, you can win, and you're also helping a good cause. Jared, link, please.
Going for Two. That's what the number 2. GoingFor2.com/fight. FIGHT, like a UFC fight.
Like we're probably going to see today between the two gentlemen. Okay, let's get started with your DFS.
Yeah, this week is interesting, right? We have a lot of games that we usually been getting 3 or 4 games that are over 50. This week, not so much. This week we have a couple games under 50. They're right there, almost there. I think my player pool is pretty narrow. Okay, I'm going to get this out of the way because I don't really care about it because I don't really play too much on FanDuel. Taysom Hill is an elite play. You pretty much want to lock him in because he's 4,500 and plays tight end over there. So that's your cheat code. That's your free square. On DraftKings, basically, my quarterback pool is pretty narrow. The 5 quarterback that I want is Justin Herbert. He's number 1 versus the New York Jets. They're ranked 32nd in DVOA. He should be one of the highest quarterback owned. I think Taysom Hill will be the highest owned quarterback, but I will not be playing him too much because he doesn't really allow me to stack. So it doesn't bring a high upside to my PPP roster. Lamar Jackson's another play I like. It looks like a lot of people seem to back off on Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, Lamar, they just don't think it's a good offense no more. But I think they're a good offense still, and they're playing the Tennessee Titans, one of the worst defense this year. 25th in DVOA. What's his name? Deshaun Watson. I like him a lot, but there's been a lot of things that really kind of backed me up on him or backed me off him. Well, 1, Jeremy Tunsil's not going to play. 2, Stephon Gilmore is playing. And, Stephon Gilmore will shadow probably Will Fuller, and I love Will Fuller this week, but we're coming back. I don't know so much, but I'll have exposure to him. Other quarterbacks you can consider. No, I'm gonna say it. I definitely love Matt Ryan this week. There's no secret. And who?
Yeah, Matt Ryan stacked with who?
Do it.
Say
Do
it.
No!
Yes.
Took a big ass swig right after.
Marshawn Lattimore is out. So that makes him an elite play, basically. There's no one on that defense that can cover Julio, and Marshawn Lattimore was going to be the only guy that probably could have. But Calvin Ridley is back too, so that will help Julio too. So that's great for him. So I love that game. I don't really believe that Atlanta's going to run the ball too much in this game because I still think what's his name, Sean Payton, the smart guy, he'll figure out how to score with that offense. So it'll be. I think Atlanta wins this game, to be honest.
Gee, if I may, the Saints are actually allowing the second fewest yards per game on the ground this season too. So
I think they're going to go through the air more than anything. Other quarterbacks to consider are Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. But yeah, a lot of people have been talking Big Ben. Not a big Ben guy. I think his upside is kind of all over the place because it's going to be hard. Who do you want to play him with, right? They have 3 wide receivers that are pretty good. At running back.
Hey, G, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off really quick here. I just need to let everybody know here. Teddy Bridgewater actually announced his active. He's actually inactive today, so he's not playing today.
Ooh, wow.
Also, Sony Michel, even though he was activated yesterday, he is not playing today.
Yeah.
He is not. Again, he is not playing today. So do start Damian Harris if you have him. You don't have to worry about his workload. I just wanted to get that out there for everybody.
No, thanks, man. I really
that just came out.
Is Bridgewater playing?
No, Bridgewater is not playing. He is inactive today.
He wasn't going to play. We all knew that. I mean, like, come on, like a knee like that, and he's kind of fragile, in my opinion. But so at running back, it's pretty chalk, pretty straightforward. It's ugly though. Dalvin Cook is number 1. You want to lock him into your rosters on cash game and GPP. I'll have very high exposure to him. Duke Johnson's a good. Hold on, I'm going to name the top tier players first because the value players are all over the place. Yeah, Dalvin Cook, the elite guy. The only other guy that I want to play is Derrick Henry at 8,000 versus the Baltimore Ravens. They're missing their defensive tackle and their defensive end, Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams, I think his name is, right? I don't know, but they're missing the interior. So what did
Brandon Williams with an ankle injury.
Yeah. So what did Derrick Henry do? He runs it right down your throat, right? So they're going to run it right in between those tackles and stuff. So, and I mean, we saw Baltimore get ran all over by the Patriots last week, I think it was. I can't remember what week it was, but they had a bye week or something like that. But anyways, Kamara, yes, he's in play, but I just worry with Taysom Hill back there, there's going to be a lot of design plays for him to run the ball too. So I like Kamara, but he's 9,200 on DraftKings, pretty priced up. The value running back that I really want to go over is Adrian Peterson. He's 4,000. He got announced a starter. I hate the guy that says it though, because he's probably one of the worst beat writers or whatever you want to call him, Ian Schefter or whatever. Ian Rappaport? Is it Ian Rappaport?
It's Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, he pisses me off, man. Like he gives like half-ass like look at the end of that. Like when he said, "Oh, Naheem Hines looks like they're gonna ride the hot hand in Indiana at the Colt." It looks like Naheem Hines. Like, dude, like, is it him or not? Like, dude, come on. Don't be like, you know those people that always say, "I told you so. I told you so." He's like one of those guys, you know.
We need to have a segment for G, just like 5 minutes, like a Family Guy scene, like that grinds his gears, the grinds my gears scene for Fantasy G.
Yeah. But no, man, for real, let's do it. So Miles Sanders, he's going to be a great play this week with no Myles Garrett, which he got the COVID-19 on him. He's going to be out. I really liked him before, and now I even like him more. But the guy that I'm really, really high on this week, and we just kind of dropped the hint, is Damian Harris. I'm really high on Damian Harris. If there's a way that they're going to keep Deshaun Watson off the field, it's going to be through Damian Harris. Damian Harris could have a big game. He's going to get a lot of run. And we've seen this guy that actually, in my opinion, you can take it how you want, I think he's the best running back there. I think he's a running back.
I concur. I agree.
While he might not be like the best pass catching running back, but the thing is, I don't think he's the best pass catcher. I think he can catch too, but they just don't do it because he's a great runner, and they got James White.
Not just that, when you have James White, or Rex Burkhead for that matter too. If you have those two, you really don't need him.
You don't need
the ball as much.
I love Damian Harris. Other guys I like in the value chair are. Hold on, let me pull up my exposure. Damian Harris, Michael P. Ryan, I don't mind him. They said that he was going to get more heavy workload. I think they finally realized that, hey, Frank Gore, we gave you a little bit, but now we got to try out P. Ryan, see what he has in him. The Chargers ranked 24th in DVOA, so with Joey Bosa coming back, I don't really expect him to like really make that big of a difference in the run, but I do expect him to make a difference in the pass rush. I love James Robinson. James Robinson as a GPP play. Don't start him in cash games, just a GPP play because of the volume. That's running back for me mostly, but I'm going pretty chalk. Like I think your core should be around Peterson, Dalvin Cook, and Henry.
I have a question. I dare I say his name. I was so nervous to even write this down for my own. Kalen Balaj, revenge game against the Jets, or Saivon Ahmed of the Dolphins against Denver. No love there?
No, I don't mind them. I just don't really. I think when my exposure goes very, let me see what I have right here. Running back. Well, I got it deleted. But anyways, no, I don't mind them. They're going to be good GPP play, but I'd rather have Balad because I think he makes a really good value in this game. I think he's going to get a workload more than Ahmed because Matt Breida's back. Wide receivers.
Hey, G, before you get to the wide receivers, do you like Hall or Grant? Marvin Hall from Detroit or Joaquin Grant from Miami?
And I like Denzel Mims better. But that doesn't answer the question. But no, I would probably say Grant because Matthew Stafford is dealing with that thumb injury. And I don't know if you guys ever gripped a football. Actually, you have. I know all you guys gripped a football. But when you grip a football, when you spin it, your thumb is a big, big priority. And like when you grab a football, like like underneath center and stuff, I think they're going to try to find a way to hide his thumb injury. I don't even know if is it on his throwing hand?
Yeah, it's on his throwing hand.
That's even worse, And Marvin Hall been getting those big ass touchdowns by like, what do you call them, like long touchdowns? So
Yeah.
those are the way he gets his touchdowns. It hasn't been like through a slant or something like that. But I'll have to say Grant for sure.
And similarly, the way you grip a football, I grip New York Giants merchandise the same way and throw it in the trash. So.
I also agree. I think Jakeem Grant is the play here. He has, both players not seeing much volume. Grant has seen 5 targets in back-to-back weeks and also has a red zone target in both of those games. He's on the field for at least 60% of the snaps since the past 2 weeks. I do expect him to also see at least his floor with a 5 target. With his score, you can see him anywhere between 8 to 15 points. It's very volatile because you're banking on the yards after catch. So for me, and also for the fact that Stafford's hurt his thumb, I think this is the Hawkinson game more than anybody else on that field.
Yes.
So I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage with Peterson and throw the ball a ton at the same time, where I think Hawkinson gets the most volume. So for me, it's also Jakeem Grant.
Doesn't it feel like we're getting a whole vibe of last week when there was a report for Swift and now there's a report for Peterson? Like they're just going to do what they say they're going to do, So I love Hawkinson.
I trust the reports. I love Adrian Peterson this week. I think he can get you anywhere between 12 to 15 points. You are banking on the touchdown, though, because that offensive line, Swift was able to evade the offensive line because he's able to move much faster and evade tackles. Adrian Peterson was more of a bruiser. So you're banking on that goal line touchdown for Adrian Peterson to get that ceiling of 12 to 15 points for you, which I think he will get.
Now you're talking AP. You're talking PPR for AP, or does that give Kerryon Johnson the better upside playing that DeAndre Swift role?
I think Kerryon Johnson is very overrated, and that's just my opinion. But he's the more of the PPR guy, right? But
he is.
It's just I think in this game they're gonna try to hide Matthew Stafford. So they're gonna try to run the clock down and just play defense, even though their defense sucks. But it's Matt Patricia. We don't know what he's gonna do exactly, right? He always
true.
That's what we hate. I think Matt Patricia needs to get fired in order for Swift and all these guys to really.
Just a quick point about Kerryon Johnson before we move on from this. Kerryon Johnson has not seen more than 35.2% of the offensive snaps at all this year in any game. And that's before even Swift took over. That's even before Swift took over the backfield. Swift earlier in the year, too. Think about it. Earlier in the year, Swift was not seeing the field that much either. He wasn't seeing much of the snaps or the touches on the backfield. And even then, Kerryon Johnson never topped more than 30%. Only once, actually, he topped over 30% of the offensive snaps. So I'm not trusting Kerryon Johnson unless you're really desperate this week. So, I mean, play for me is Adrian Peterson, and otherwise nobody else. Unless you're in deeper leagues like 14 or 16-man leagues. In 12-man leagues, I think you can do better than Kerryon Johnson.
I'm expecting a heavy workload for Peterson, to be honest, because the Panthers, they rank 25th in DVOA. So how are you going to beat the Panthers is more through the running game, because Stafford is going to be – if Stafford goes off, I'll be shocked. But if PJ Walker started, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah.
If he starts, then I still think he can hang in there. I don't mind PJ Walker. I think he was a great XFL player. There's a reason why
he was actually the leading quarterback for the XFL. Yeah, I think he led the league in touchdowns.
He would have been the MVP basically if the season would have kept going. But
he would have been.
He played in the Atlanta Falcons game, and when he came in for like 2 series, this guy had balls. Like his first 2 plays, he threw one like 80-yard, like not.
He did throw it deep.
He threw it deep to Robbie Anderson. Like he don't care. So if they keep this game competitive, it'll be a pretty good game. But it is what it is. Peterson, we like carry on like what 2 years ago when he was a great dynasty value. But man, that Ray gone over the head, right? What were we, wide receiver?
Yep.
Okay. Wide receiver, well, obviously, you guys already seen it. Play Julio. He's going to be matched up with, I don't even know who he's matched up with, but whoever it is, he's going to have a really bad day. And the family, I think, giving dinner is going to tell him how bad he had. Julio is probably my number 1 wide receiver, even over Devontae Adams. I don't mind Devontae Adams, but I really think that injury is kind of worrisome. At 8,600 on DraftKings, I don't know if I want to pay up for that. There's one guy that really stands out for me is Terry McLaurin versus Cincinnati. He has a great matchup, 6,900, and I have him projected for almost 19 points. And to give you an idea, that's the second highest projected point for this week for wide receiver. Number 1 being Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen has a great matchup against a very zone defense, which is what Keenan Allen's specialty is to just shred the zone defense. We've seen Keenan Allen. This guy gets open more than anybody we know. One of the best route runners in the game. Adam Thielen, great matchup in Dallas. I mean, basically, anybody who plays Dallas has a great matchup. That's the thing that's sad. And Travion Diggs is out, right? So he should be even in a better matchup. Calvin Ridley's back. He looks like he's healthy. I guess there was a report that he could have played last week or the last time they played it. I don't know. I think they had a bye last week, right?
So actually, Calvin Ridley actually came into this today with no injury designation on the injury report yesterday. So he's completely healthy.
Yeah. Love Justin Jefferson this week for Dallas as well. Obviously, and this is what I'm worried about because I keep mentioning the Vikings wide receiver, but I'm not playing Kirk Cousins. So I'm just hoping maybe one of those two is going to go off, and then, the other one has an average game. I'm not hoping for that, but you know what I mean. Deontay Johnson, great play. Slant boy here. Case nobody knows who he is. That's Michael Thomas. I don't expect him to have a big game, but if he has a big game, would I be shocked? No, because he's a great wide receiver. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm going back to that. I was really high on that last week, and it burned the hell out of me. Like, it burned me some money.
Again, what happened to you saying don't hold grudges in DFS?
That is true. You did say that, G.
Hey, I'll play him. I'm just saying I don't know how much exposure I'll have to him. Let me see. I can actually I lost my...
Also, while he's looking that up, really quick about the Steelers wide receivers. Last week, this was a crazy stat I just happened to come across when I was looking at the target distribution. All 3 Steelers had at least 10 targets, with Chase Claypool seeing the fewest was 10 of them. So all 3 of them are, if you have them, they're all solid plays. Now, who's going to be the ceiling? Who's going to give you that floor game? Take your pick. It could be anyone.
You haven't figured it out, have you?
No, I can't figure it out. I've tried.
Deontay Johnson's the alpha there. Deontay Johnson's the number 1 wide receiver. People need to figure this out, man. Like, I'm telling you guys, he's the best wide receiver. I love Chase Claypool. I mean, no, I don't love Chase Claypool because I'll be honest. I was the biggest hater on Chase Claypool coming out of the rookie draft. I said he was a tight end. But the thing is, here's the thing. This guy lost weight. He lost weight. I know he lost weight because he looked slimmer in the NFL and he looked quicker. And he was like big and athletic. We thought he was going to be like a tight end, hyper wide receiver. Oh, what do you know exactly? So I did I think Deontay is just the alpha there, man. I love Juju, and Juju narrative is that everybody says it's his birthday. Guess what, guys? In the NFL, they don't give a shit if it's your birthday or not.
I didn't know it was his birthday.
It's like what Big Ben, Gladys, what did Big Ben say? Big Ben said, I don't care being 8-0. I don't want to win a Super Bowl.
So a quick stat on all three of these guys. Here are their stats in the last 2 weeks alone. And here's a target distribution. Claypool with 23, Juju with 20, and Johnson with 21. All three of them have double-digit also receptions, 12, 15, and 12. And Claypool, of course, having the short yardages of 125 yards, Juju with 170 yards, and Johnson with 193. Juju has 2 touchdowns, and Claypool has 2 touchdowns, and Johnson has 1. But they're all so close. I think Claypool is the lowest of the three, with I think Johnson having the higher upside. Juju, you need the touchdowns to happen. Johnson has the higher upside with the yards after catch. Juju, since he mans up in the slot a little bit more and less on the wide, you're counting on the touchdowns to make him more of his ceiling. So Deontay, of course, is the safer play, in my opinion, and the higher ceiling. But Juju is also pretty safe, but his ceiling and floor is a little bit lower.
And if you hook on that, 3 out of the last 4 games, Ben has thrown at least 42 pass attempts. So the math fits perfectly. They're throwing enough to where the opportunity is there. Now, with this Jacksonville quote-unquote defense, does James Conner actually get a little more love and siphon some of his pass attempts down? Question mark.
Well, it hasn't been that James Conner hasn't been getting love. It's just he hasn't been productive. So he
hasn't. That's true.
He's not averaged over 2.4 yards a carry.
So I thought I was pretty high on Connor this week, right?
You are?
No, I thought I was going to be high on Connor because I was like, oh man, great matchup. Okay, they should, man. Just wait a minute. I put in my projection. I run my optimizer and everything. I only have like 4 Connor. I'm like, why do you guys hate so much on Connor? And then I went and did research, and I'm like, holy shit, 13 attempts, 9 attempts, 36 yards, 22 yards. I'm like, this guy, and the worst part is, he has averaged 1.5 yards per carry, 2.9 yards per carry, 3.5, 3.1, 2. It's just like, it's not working. I don't know what it is. Or I just think Big Ben is just saying, you know what? I'm just going to do what's easy. Just throw the ball. And I have 3 wide receivers. They're wide open. One of them's wide open all the time. And I thought Big Ben was going to be out this week. That injury last week looked like he looked like doing like, you know, that side mirror that Michael Jackson did when he goes like this? You know, when he got hit on his knees, I was like, yo, man.
Yeah, that looked bad. That looked bad. I was really worried.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's done. And that's I hate that too in the NFL. I hate injuries. But wide receivers, I just crunch, optimize my lineup to 150. And it's happening, guys. Julio's number 1. I have the highest exposure on him. Other guys,
it's happening, guys.
Other guys I haven't mentioned. Brandon Cooks, he's actually tied with Julio as my exposure. It's shocking, but I think it makes sense because Will Fuller would get covered by what's his name?
Gilmore.
I don't think Gilmore is as elite as people make him out to be because that pass rush on the Patriots is a lot weaker than last year. He's still a good cornerback, but don't be like, oh, I can't play this guy, you know. Keenan Allen's good. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, I'm going to play them. But my favorite 2 value wide receivers are Jacoby Myers and Michael Pittman.
Yep.
And Denzel Mittman. Well, my 3 favorite wide receivers. Tight ends. It's 4 this week. It's Tuesday Hopkins and Logan Thomas. Those are the 2 favorite tight ends. Other than that, I'm going to have a closer of Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Andrew Cook. This one's going to come a little bit probably sneaky. Dalton Coates.
Isn't that Schultz?
Schultz? Yeah, whatever.
Schultz.
It's going to be Dalton and Dalton connection. What do you know?
Dalton's a Dalton. The Dalton connection.
It's like,
You don't like
Oh, jeez.
G.
Oh, man.
You're not on Ebron this week?
Oh, what did you say, Gladys?
You're not on Eric Ebron this week?
Not a lot of exposure on him. I think the reason why I'm not on Eric Ebron is more because the value on Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is 3,300, so he's the cheapest. He should be the highest owned tight end. He has a DVP of 31, 31st overall against Cincinnati. I had Ebron has a good matchup too, but he's 4,000, so that's $800 more than what Thomas is.
No love for Austin Hooper, G?
Oh no, I like Hooper. I mentioned him on the podcast. I think everybody's been off him because of the win game. This is what the Browns been doing with the last 2 games, win game, and nobody.
Well, the concern with the Browns isn't actually wind; it's actually more rain than anything else, which actually I think helps the tight end.
I mean, in the past 2 games, I know I don't think it's going to hurt them in this game. I mean, in the past 2 games, like the passing game hasn't been existent. It's been more the run game, and why not do it when you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in one game? But I love Austin Hooper. He had a great matchup against the Philadelphia. I almost call them Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 29th in DVP, so I love that matchup. I like him. Dallas Goedert is also a good play, but I'm sticking more to TJ Hawkinson or Logan Thomas. Those are my 2 guys that I'm really being high on. On defense, guys, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not paying up for defense this week because there's so many good plays like Dalvin.
I always punt defense in DFS. Yeah. That's just me. I always punt defense.
I lean towards the Lions just because of the PJ Walker thing in Carolina. So.
That's interesting.
That's actually not a bad pick. I actually like that pick.
I'm gonna shock you what defense I'm gonna say, but it's the Vikings defense. I don't mind the Vikings defense versus Andy Dalton in that game. I don't mind the Eagles defense, the Titans defense, Broncos, and Washington football team. But my favorite defense today is the Dolphins defense. They lead the league in turnover point, or what do you call them? It's like the highest turnover plus
turnover ratio.
Yeah, that. This guys, I have tools in this, and I just let them run the numbers. How is it bad?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, Matt Dahl. Irv Smith is playing today.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's active. Let's answer some of these questions. I think we got questions, huh?
Yeah, we got a ton of questions, man.
Let's go ahead, man.
We just have 2. This guy wants to know, should he play Hills, a tight end, on FanDuel?
1,000,000% yes.
Oh yeah,
everyone's playing him. So yes.
He's gonna be 75% owned. I guarantee you that.
At least.
The only player you're playing over Taysom Hill in the tight end spot, if you can afford it, based on your lineup, is Kelsey. That's it. There's nobody else you're playing over him. Well, only Kelsey has the ceiling to match what Hill has this week.
In life, yeah.
I agree.
He's not on a slate, but in real life, yeah, that's the only way you would play him. But I think it's just, dude, you have a quarterback playing the tight end position. We got.
And what's his price? Isn't it like ridiculously cheap as well? Yeah, it's really cheap.
So I know you guys are going to the fantasy segment. So I got to ask you guys all this same question because I want to get this out of the way. I had a guy in one of my league. We have a Facebook chat row group for the whole league, and he left the chat because he was so upset that I told him, "You're stupid, dude. Like you're ridiculous. Like, dude." He got mad. He said it shouldn't be because it's not we're not an ESPN league, but he's talking about like real life, Right. ESPN has Taysom Hill as a tight end.
Yep.
As a tight end, and he said that's abysmal. That's terrible. It's stupid. That's not fair. That's like bullish. And I'm like, well, you had all season to pick him up.
And not just that. So I agree with him. I think Taysom Hill should not be slated as a tight end this week. He should be as a QB. But if the app allows it, it's not our fault that the app allows it.
Exactly. But he said this. That's, if I was a league manager in that league, I wouldn't allow it. I would tell people you can't pick up Taysom Hill because that's too big of an advantage. I'm like, then why do you play fantasy football? You play fantasy
exactly.
Everybody.
You tell that man he's like King Henry IV. thinks he's a badass, but has zero strategy and refuses to play what the hand that he's dealt. So no, I use sleeper more than anything, and I have a linebacker starting in my defensive back spot because he's dual designation. That's just the way it is.
But do you guys agree that you take advantage of whatever advantage you can get in fantasy football?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Other than collusion, yes.
Gladys, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. There was a guy on Twitter last night, and it may be your guy, who was telling people that they lacked integrity if they took Taysom Hill because it wasn't fair to play him in a tight end spot because he was a quarterback. That's bullshit.
Yes.
Yes.
Gladys.
You go, Gladys. You tell him.
Play him as a tight end, and you get that advantage. It's an advantage that it's not like you made up the advantage. The system gave you the advantage. So why didn't you use it?
So this was my comeback to him, right? At the end, this is when he left. He left the chat room, by the way. Like he left. He got out. He was so bad. As soon as I said this, I'm like, so I don't want to say the name on public, but like,
Yeah,
so
don't do that.
blah blah. If you had Taysom Hill on your team starting new tight end spot, you were not going to be jumping up and down and be happy about it. And he left. All right, guys, 10 o'clock. Yeah, man, those are my plays. My top stacks are definitely Atlanta Falcons, Chargers, Texans, and I like Cincinnati. But good luck this week. Remember, guys, I'm high on Damian Harris. I think Peterson's a good play. Good luck. I hope you guys all win all the money. Hey, have a good second half of the show. Find me on the Fantasy G Pod on Twitter, DFS Roundtable on Facebook, and on the DFS show on Friday night with Jeff and Tim. Much love. Peace out.
Thanks, guys.
Later, brother.
Bye. All right. Question from Justin Pierce. Is Williams worth a pivot from Allen? I'm assuming he means Mike Williams from Keenan Allen.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming too. No, I think this is a great week for Williams as well. I think it's a great week for both. The only concern you'll have is, are the Jets actually going to be scoring? And as we saw last week with Joe Flacco and the Jets, when the wide receivers are all healthy, this offense can actually move. So I think if you have both and you're questionable at flex, I would not hate the idea of playing both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams this week.
What do you have, Jared?
I reluctantly agree, but I'm not big on. As big on Mike Williams though. His stats, his numbers have been actually not good at all. If you're gonna stream, if you're talking flex, I like Hunter Henry instead of Mike Williams, but that's just me.
Interesting. Okay.
I would say that Keenan Allen is the lion's share of targets in that offense. They are the fourth offense in the league right now. Williams, that defense is just really bad. It's just really, really bad. And they are prone to getting scorched on the long ball, which is Williams' forte. I would keep on Allen just because of the targets, especially if you're in PPR, Justin. If you're in PPR, I would stick with Allen. If you're talking Keenan Allen, for sure.
And also, to your point, Gladys, also I agree as far as fantasy points are concerned. The Jets are allowing the 10th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. And they've also allowed 9 touchdowns to them, which is tied for 5th most. And they're also giving up the 5th most yards, receiving yards, and the 6th most receptions to the wide receiver position. And that's while being targeted the 12th most times. So they're not being targeted as much as the top 5 teams are targeting against them, but they're even then they're giving up so much yardage and touchdowns on those fantasy points. So to the Gladys's point, yeah, they're pretty bad against the wide receiver position.
Hey, Kyle.
Be that as it may, he's only caught 12 passes in 3 games. He's touchdown dependent if we're talking Mike Williams still.
Yeah. He is, of course, but yeah, we all are saying here that you start Keenan Allen over Mike Williams.
Yes.
But my only point I was trying to make was if you have a flex spot and you're questioning who to start flex, and you have both of these guys, it's not a bad idea to start Mike Williams. So Justin, I'd be curious to see who's your flex option. Or is this a DFS question or is this a redraft question?
And Justin, while you're getting on that, Kyle, good morning. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Kyle wants to know, what do you think about the Saints? Should I play Alex Smith over Jameis Winston? Do we know if Jameis Winston is even going to play?
Yeah.
Is he gonna,
So, I mean, Jameis Winston obviously isn't playing because Taysom Hill is starting. So, with that said, of course, you're going to start Alex Smith. But who are your other options I'd be curious about?
Justin is in FanDuel. That's his question, is FanDuel.
Oh, FanDuel. I mean, yeah, if it's just between those two that we're talking here, then yeah, you definitely play Alex Smith, of course, because Jameis Winston's not playing. Well,
I'm actually playing Alex Smith in one of my lineups. It was more of a value / clown play lineup at that position, so I can get more value for the other spots. But there's upside. But yeah, I'd pick Smith any day.
Okay.
Between those two.
My fault. The FanDuel question was from Justin. So that's the Williams with the pivot. And how many you asked him? He had Ballage.
Kalen Ballage.
Yeah, at flex. So he could go with Williams to stack with Allen.
No, I keep Ballage. That's a nice stack. I mean, that's a nice flex. Ballage is a great flex.
So who are you telling him?
Ballage, yeah.
Williams or Ballage and Allen? Which way are you going with that?
Ballage and Allen, no question.
Agreed.
Okay. On FanDuel. Okay.
Yep.
And
You actually want to play more running backs in FanDuel because the half-point PPR instead of the full point.
okay.
Also, to the Alex Smith point regarding DFS, they're facing the Bengals today, right, guys? If I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah.
in the past, listen to this stat here. In the past 4 opposing quarterbacks, 3 of them have thrown for at least 297 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, Alex Smith is a fantastic play this week.
Well, Kyle's in a super flex league. That's what he said. So
It's still confident start.
Oh, then yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Smith, Tannehill, and Winston.
Oh, Jared.
Don't do this.
Oh, Jared, what you gonna do, man?
I told you 3 weeks ago now, I think. Do this. Dude, no, this is entrapment. This is entrapment. This is shenanigans. This is ridiculous.
Hey, guys, we have a question from MB Football again. So this is his starting lineup, all right? Are you with me? Mahomes is quarterback. Wide receivers are McLaurin, Anderson. Running backs are Kamara, Aaron Jones. Tight end is Darren Waller. And his flex is Antonio Gibson. On his bench, he has Gronkowski, Kupp, Edmonds, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore. Should he switch his flex out? I guess is what he's asking. Because
first of all, what was it, a 6-team draft?
This is an every week wonder. Like, is he? Can you ask him if he's undefeated? Can somebody ask him what his record is?
You have to be undefeated. That's a ridiculous bench.
Can you tell me the bench one more time, please?
Yes, I can. As soon as I spell undefeated correctly. His bench is Rob Gronkowski, Cooper Kupp, Chase Edmonds, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore. The only question would be Kupp, I think, instead of Antonio Gibson. Because you're not going to take Jones or Kamara out. And Robbie Anderson, maybe, but I think he has a connection with PJ Clark, and I think they're going to be behind, so he's going to be passing. My only question would be Kupp.
I'm going crazy here, but bench Aaron Jones this week.
What?
Whoa, wait! I need some validation here. I need a little. I get it. I do get it. I think it's because of the Colts defense, which is actually one of the best defenses in the league. I totally get that, but please tell me more than just saying that he's facing the Colts defense.
Not only are the Colts only allowing 91.8 yards per game on the ground, but they are also only allowing the 4th fewest points in the league at 19.7, which really caps the upside here, especially from the running game. Rodgers may be able to do his thing, but that's going to be my aggressive fade on Aaron Jones, and I'll probably end up eating those words for lunch. But the numbers don't lie. And The number of rush attempts, I think they haven't even really given Jones the workhorse role. I think this is more of a Jamal Williams PPR game than it would be an Aaron Jones. So I'm going to go A.J. Brown for Aaron Jones, and then your flex, I would consider Cup, to Gladys's point.
Wait,
Call me
you're gonna
crazy.
so let me get this straight, just so
Here we
we're
go.
clear.
Here we
You're
go. Let me
favoring
get my
Aaron
signal
Jones
ready.
because of the defense he's facing, but let's go ahead and start A.J. Brown against a pretty good wide receiver defense in the Ravens.
They're exploitable.
That's what you're saying right now. So the defensive
They're exploitable.
logic applies to Aaron Jones, but not A.J. Brown.
How many times have we been through this, Hamid?
Oh, well, we're gonna have to chalk this one up too now because I'm disagreeing with you on this. I don't think he should bench AJ Brown. If anything, I think he should swap out DJ Moore for Robbie Anderson. I would say actually.
Wow.
I got it.
So wait. Now listen to a little bit of logic on why I think he should do that. Robbie Anderson's averaging 8.8 targets per game from week 7 onwards. Okay, his catch rate has dropped. Okay, not only that, he's only caught 2 of 10 deep targets, which is what he was living off of earlier in the year in the first 5 weeks. Okay, his red zone usage, he's seen 7 red zone targets, which is 40th in the league, and he has 9 games where he's not scored a touch. 9 games in a row he's not scored a touchdown yet. Okay, so I think. His ceiling is not of course. His ceiling, of course, is what we've seen already in the past. But his numbers have not been consistent. The efficiency is just not there. Throw in the fact now that Terry Bridgewater's not playing, it's PJ Walker. Yeah, PJ Walker's aggressive.
Yes.
He's not going to be afraid to throw downfield. But I'm going to trust DJ Moore here over Robbie Anderson.
PJ Walker and Robbie Anderson were college roommates, right? They played together in college?
Yes, they were. They played together. That's correct.
I'm gonna leave Robbie Anderson in there because I think they're gonna need to throw in that game. I like his lineup as it is. I think Cup is the only maybe I would put in because of his matchup this week. But bench Jones, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know about benching Jones, man.
It's my aggressive play.
Did you miss us?
Yo,
My aggressive fade. Hey,
Jared.
sir.
He's back. What are you doing back here?
I want the weed you're smoking, or I want the alcohol you're drinking, or whatever you are. You don't bench Aaron Jones.
Yes. Tell this guy.
Come on, brother. I mean, Aaron Jones.
You brought G back.
The last 3 games. The last 3 games of Aaron Jones's. He's run 10 times for 15 yards against the Buccaneers, who have great runs.
Drafted him in the top 2 rounds.
Against the Niners, 3.9 yards per carry. Against the Jaguars, 3.5 yards per carry. And you're telling me to leave that there against
AJ Brown. Did you say AJ Brown? That was your guy?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
I will make a bet. AJ Brown versus Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones gets more points than AJ Brown, I'll wear a sign right here. I don't care how we're gonna do it. Paper, whatever, the whole show. I was right, you were wrong. Deal?
You know what? I'm taking that bet. I'm taking that bet.
I'm out. I'm gonna leave. Bye.
Even better, I'm gonna have a whiteboard up behind me to state it really big and nice that I was wrong and Jared was right. I'm taking that bet.
All right, I can't believe you made Garrison come back on with that call. All right, the next question. Matt wants to know McLaurin or Gibson from Washington for DFS.
What's Gibson's value in DFS? But I still think McLaurin. I think McLaurin is the play. The matchup is fantastic. I think he's going to. I think he finishes as a wide receiver 1, not overall, of course, but inside the wide receiver 1 category. So I'm taking McLaurin here.
I would take McLaurin because I think McKissick is taking Gibson is taking plays away from Gibson, and if they fall behind, Gibson isn't going to be part of that offense. McKissick will. What do you got, Jared?
Gibson has scored 4 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. He's on a 3-week touchdown streak, but
Right.
his yards per carry have not been admirable, so they actually have to get down to the goal line for that. The safer play and the upside play is McLaurin. McLaurin's at 6,900 for his salary and DraftKings, which is more than affordable. So I'm going T-Max, Scary Terry as well.
Hey, Mike. Justin wants to know if Henry is worth the 8,200 on FanDuel, or is he more of DraftKings play?
I'm sorry, who again?
Derrick Henry. He's 8,200 on FanDuel. He wants to know if that's worth it, or should he play him more in DraftKings?
So I think these questions are gauging around who I'm starting, so they know who to sit because of the injuries, which is very, very clever of our watching base. But I'm actually starting Henry in one lineup today at 8,200 in FanDuel. Yes, you got to go heavy, more workhorse studs in FanDuel, in my humble opinion. That's why I always start 3 running backs. So I go with Henry at least in FanDuel. Yes.
I will also go Henry and FanDuel just because the Ravens are missing 2 of their best defensive linemen and up the middle, and that's where Henry's going to be making. He runs a lot of his runs up the middle, and I think this is a blow-up spot for Derrick Henry. And of course, he gets the volume. He's getting what? I'll have to look it up on the stats in front of me to look it up, but he's getting at least 25 touches a game. So I definitely go with Henry. I think he returns that value for sure.
I agree. I totally agree. I go with Derrick Henry. Also, hi, Michael Hicks. Mike says never bench Jones. Thank
you, Mike.
Kyle says, hopefully this question is controversial. PPR start. Kalen Ballage, Todd Gurley, Ronald Jones. Oof. I think the safer floor is Ballage. How do you pronounce his name? Ballage?
I guess
Ballage.
each their own. Kalen Ballage.
Ballage.
I agree. I think Kalen Ballage is the safe play here. Just one, I think, on touches alone. And Ronald Jones with Leonard Fournette there. I mean, if Leonard Fournette did not exist, this is Ronald Jones every week. I think Ronald Jones is a must start regardless. But I think Kalen Ballage has the higher upside.
I agree. What do you got, Jared?
I'll go group census and say Ballage as well. The Rams actually are the 5th best against the defense, run defense, so that caps the upside of Ronald Jones. I go Ballage here. And one interesting point, which he's one of my sleeper starts on Ballage, is the Chargers actually announced him as the starting back, which take that for what it's worth, but the last 2 weeks they refused to actually make an announcement and confide in a certain running back. So to me, that has some speak with Anthony Lynn at the helm. So I'm going to go Ballage here.
To add to that, just an FYI for everybody, the Rams have given up a whopping 5 touchdowns to running backs all year.
Yep, correct.
All year.
All year.
All year.
All year.
All year.
Who's your quarterback start? Who's your
All year.
Who's your quarterback start for this week?
Matt Ryan, I think, is my quarterback star of the week. I think a lot of people also have him as their star of the week. He has when his receivers are all healthy, with Calvin Ridley also having no injury designation this week. Matt Ryan's ceiling game has averaged at least 20. He's averaged at least 26 fantasy points with the minimum, with all of his receivers healthy. He's also averaged 28 fantasy points in his last game. He had 28 fantasy points in his last game before the bye week, which was against Denver. So I think I'm comfortable with starting Matt Ryan. He's averaged 27.8 fantasy points in the last 4 games he's had against the Saints. It would not surprise me if this is the week that Matt Ryan finishes inside the top 3, if not QB1 overall. Another quarterback I would consider starting as well as a must-start would be, believe it or not, Cam Newton. Okay? Now, again, you're not going for the passing upside. You're going for the rushing upside. I think Cam Newton will have a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. This is a game against Houston. So Gilmore is back, so the defense is getting a little bit healthy for the Patriots, but I still think that the Texans will be able to score enough to force Cam Newton to throw the ball a little bit more. and of course, I think this is a game where he goes off and finishes inside the top 10 amongst all quarterbacks. So those are my two quarterbacks I think are must-starts. Although, I mean, we can name Ben Roethlisberger as well, but I'll go with those two.
Yeah, so you just you stole my thunder there. I'll go with Big Ben this week just for the fact that he's thrown for 639 yards, 7 touchdown passes, and 0 interceptions the past 2 weeks.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The opening, so there's more than ample opportunity for Ben to go off this week. So I got to go just with the Roethlisberger's my go-to. And back to Hamid's point, and even G, I like Herbert, and I like Matt Ryan as well. But I lean towards Ben as my main starter.
Kirk Cousins, as crazy as that is, Kirk Cousins against the Dallas defense is not a bad play either.
Matt Dahl wants to know who would be your best super cheap sleeper pick of the week.
Super cheap, so I'm guessing DFS, yeah?
I'm going to go DFS, yes. I'm going to go the Cam Sims, wide receiver from Washington. He's got to be super duper cheap. He's had 94% of snap counts. He's not really high on targets, but it's only a matter of time. And it's DFS. Cam Sims, that is mine. Washington, wide receiver. Hamid, or Jared, sorry.
I'll go. So I have to go with Jacoby Myers here. He's averaging 6.8 receptions a game and 84.5 yards per game the last 4 games. And if we're talking DraftKings, he is a more than affordable 4,900. So that is a steal.
Hamid, did he take yours?
I'm actually looking up this guy's value really quick here. The guy I'm picking. Give me 1 second, please. Sorry, I wasn't expecting.
Take it down.
I'm going with Jamison Crowder here. He's 66. He's worth 6,600. I don't know if that's super cheap or not. Sorry, I'm just doing this on the spot here. But granted, last week he had 2 receptions, 2 targets. He had 2 targets for 2 receptions, 26 yards and a touchdown. That wasn't great. I totally get that. But now they're going up against the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken. With Casey Howard likely to cover Bashard Perriman, so I don't think Perriman's going to get targeted as much from Flacco as he was last week. When they did play, I think they were on a bye last week. I can't remember. No, they played Thursday, right? Yeah, they played Thursday. So I think with Chris Harris still out as well, I think Jamison Crowder, he should see plenty of underneath targets.
I thought Harris was back. I thought Chris Harris was back this game.
Is he back? I think
he's back. I think they have both of Harris and one other defensive guy is back.
Ooh, okay, well that changes my take a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Chargers did designate Chris Harris to return on the 18th, 4 days ago. So they didn't really say that he was activated, though. So he still might be out. I don't see anything that says that he's active or activated. He's on the active roster, but he's not actually activated yet.
While Hamid's looking that up, with Bridgewater out, DJ Moore or Mike Williams, standard league. Mike Williams. DJ Moore's not getting. He's not getting the targets in the standard league. You're gonna.
Last week, you guys loved DJ Moore, and he hit too, though.
He sure did.
What have you done for me lately?
I'll admit that. Oh, look at you on your high horse perking up when I say that. You know.
Yes. I think DJ Moore has a better game than Robbie Anderson this week.
So you're going DJ Moore over Mike Williams in a standard league? In
standard league? Oh wow. Okay, I missed the standard league part. That makes it. I'm going Mike Williams over DJ Moore in standard league. I think in standard league, because that changes things. You're going for more of the total yardage and also a touchdown. So I think Mike Williams has the better chance of scoring a touchdown versus DJ Moore. So I'll take Mike Williams here in standard.
I'll go Moore just for the fact that
we went Williams.
No. I'll go more just for the fact that I think GameScript's gonna create the opportunity for Moore to at least get the yardage compared to Williams. GameScript might limit Williams' upside for this week once the Chargers get way ahead of the Jets and they don't have to pass.
All right. Justin is calling it right now. Do you have Jared Cook in your lineup? He's calling it. Cook gets hurts a lot. He's fading him. Do you have Cook in your lineup, Jared?
He's so expensive. That's my only problem. And is he worth it? Yes, but I do not have any shares starting of Cook this week in DFS. I lied. I have him in one lineup out of like 10.
So, Justin, you might want to rethink that because
does Jared Cook have more than? I don't think Jared Cook has more than 8 fantasy points in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, Jared, I thought, okay, no, Jared Cook, I have none. I haven't touched Jared Cook at all. No, I wouldn't.
I'm thinking he's talking Jared Cook.
If he was talking Dalvin, I thought he was talking Dalvin. I apologize. I didn't see the question.
No, but if Jameis Winston goes in, 34% of his targets go to the tight end position. And Tyson Hill, does he throw the ball downfield? Is he a downfield thrower or is he like
Who knows? Who knows?
He's only had 18. I think he's only thrown 18 passes in his entire career. And what we have seen though is, at least this is the eye test here, because I have no tape to go off of for him in college. I didn't look at his college tape at all. But I've seen that he's a bit inaccurate with his throws when he's throwing deep. He is an aggressive passer, so he's not afraid to throw the ball downfield. So that's the upside, the good news, because with Drew Brees, he wasn't throwing deep at all. With Taysom Hill, you can expect that to happen, but he's going to be a bit inaccurate. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he does throw an interception or two this game. However, I think what Taysom Hill's upside is actually with his rushing attempts. He's averaging 4.5 every 4.5 attempts. He's doing a rushing attempt. So you average that out through an entire game. That's close to 12 to 15 rushing attempts, which I don't think he'll have. I think he'll have between 10 to 12, give or take. So I think Taysom Hill's upside with his rushing upside. So, but yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill has to get hurt or have a terrible first half to see the field. So that's the only Jameis Winston seeing the field. So I'm not trusting and hoping for that to happen and starting Jared Cook. If you have other options out there other than Jared Cook, I would go with that over Jared Cook.
Matt Dahl says, all the talk about Moore and Anderson, what about Curtis Samuel? I totally agree with Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is like a poor man's J.D. McKissick in reverse. So he's going to
I initially had him in a lineup. I changed my mind, but I like it. I don't hate it. I like it just for the fact that been using him as running back. Yes, he got he stagnated last week, but he's shown the big playability, and then he has the opportunity against the Lions this week. So I do like it.
I like it a lot. What do you got, Hammond? You like
it? I like Curtis Samuel, but you really are banking. I mean, he's been extremely efficient, though. That's what you're counting on. Me personally, I like banking on efficiency. I mean, Austin Eckler was a good example of that when he was actually healthy. What made him so great was his efficiency with his limited touches. Similarly, Chase Edmonds, his efficiency has been carrying him, and which is why he's actually been doing relatively well. With Samuel, the efficiency will eventually start to, those drawbacks will show up with the efficiency. But so if you trust his efficiency to continue this week, you can definitely play Samuel. I'm assuming this is DFS. I mean, if you want to go really cheap at DFS as well, Salvin Ahmed, I think, is pretty cheap in DFS. If you want to flex that instead. What was he like? Can someone look that up? Was he 4,500 or somewhere there? He's really cheap at DFS.
And with Bridgewater out, that opens up a lot more opportunities to run. So we might see Samuel get even more touches over throwing. So.
Yeah, but how many touches are you really expecting? I mean, 4 to 5 touches, rushing plays? They're going to be jet sweeps probably. Maybe I think he lined up once. He did get a snap up in the middle, in center, I think, as well last week. But it's, again, that efficiency. I'm not a guy who banks on efficiency, but Matt, if you're comfortable with that approach and Samuel can get you at least, you need a touchdown. Again, his value is with the touchdown. If he does not get you a touchdown, his value is not there. So if you trust him to get a touchdown, you can play Samuel, but I personally would stay away from Samuel.
He's 4,800. And Garrison.
Salvin Ahmed's 4,800.
Garrison is yelling, I'm assuming that's why it's all in caps, and twice, back to back, Damian Harris. Damien
We've already
has-
talked about them, though.
Yeah.
So, you guys, parting shots, please, and thank you. 'Cause we are
In one big breath. Start T. Higgins, Antonio Gibson, Taysom Hill at tight end or Hawkinson, Marvin Jones, sleeper Kalen Ballage for the revenge game, Savon Ahmed. My deep sleepers are Jakeem Grant, Demarcus Robinson, and Devontae Booker. Beyond that, why do vampires look so neat and tidy if they can't see themselves in a mirror?
and I can't do it.
So last week I talked about how this is the time with your trading deadlines coming up in most of your leagues. I mean, ours has already passed. Most of yours are probably this week or have already passed as well. But this is the time where you want to target. Look at those playoff schedules. Look at the winter that's coming up, the snow games, the cold games where the running game matters more. Start looking at those schedules. And there's one player in particular I want you to keep in mind. Someone who has a lot of experience with snow games, Le'Veon Bell of the Chiefs. If you can still trade for Le'Veon Bell, I think now is the opportunity to buy low on Le'Veon Bell if you can. A few other players, on different offenses, keep in mind. Of course, Damian Harris. I mean, he's still yelling Damian Harris. So last week I talked about Travis Fulgham. His targets were down. His offensive snap share was also down. Just something to keep in mind as well as that team is getting healthy. I am concerned about his usage in this offense going forward. I think he's dropped from a high wide receiver 2 with upside. He's entering more of that high flex wide receiver 3 category if this continues, especially with Zach Ertz now practicing and expected to come back in the next week or two as well. With that said, guys, I hope you guys have a great week. Win a lot of money, win your leagues, make that playoff push, and bring the title home, guys.
Make it happen.
And guys, remember that this is Thanksgiving week, so you will have the Thanksgiving games on the DFS slate. We will have the Going for Two charity, the fight against addiction. Come on, join, play against us. See if you can beat Jared. See if you can beat Hamid. I know you're not.
Tannehill.
When did I say that last?
I just have to put it in there. I just gotta say it, man. It's just
Still doing this.
Number2.com/fight. It's for a good cause, and we appreciate you as always. Everyone have a really good week. Win, lots of money. Have a great turkey day or non-turkey day, as it may be. A tofu turkey. Yes.
Tofurkey, yeah.
Yes. And we will see you next Sunday. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great